down one line, this point in contact with white on the seam is still a good move. In some situations, you take this and slide it down one line, and the seam on this stone, see, this stone then would become the seam between the corner and this side, and the contact move with that seam. Or you can play the contact move here with that seam. It's a very similar principle. This theory explains why you see so many contact moves when you're coming into your opponent's area of strength. You're looking to get two moves in a row that blunt the attack and allow you to settle in more easily. From white's perspective, this is a better point. You can see that black was able to play off of this and strengthen up a little bit, whereas he doesn't have that. That's not really critical. From the standpoint of technique, get this force down. The only reason you have to connect here is because you're afraid your stone might be taken. As long as the stone is in a tower, it can't be taken. So this is a kind of a local force. In the context of the overall game, it doesn't force anything. But because black is intending to force white to connect, white can counterforce black to connect. Then black connects and white connects, and you move on. This is obviously a clear little plus for white. In the game, black was able to get that push himself and create a little bit of eye structure out of it. Whoa. So far as that goes, I would not have bothered to push up there. In this particular case, how interested is black in the way the game has gone in invading over here? As you get into middle game issues, you have weak groups develop. What do you do to manage weak groups? Well, there are many different plans for dealing with weak groups. There's a myriad of them. But the one that is the most often used, the easiest to apply, and the most valuable is to run into the center. It's go knowledge that the territory is on the corners and the edges, the sides. That's where the territory is. There's not much territory in the center. The center does not become a territorial focus until late in the middle game. That's when everything else is played out to the point that what's left in the center becomes, relatively speaking, large. But while it is not a valuable part of the board, territorially speaking, the center is the place of safety. You get into the center and your group is alive. Now, I understand you can't see that, and that's fine. If you turn it around, it will become a little bit easier to understand. If a group can't be killed, it's alive. Once you get into the center, how can your group be killed? The first step in every plan that kills stones is to contain them. You can't contain stones in the center. That's why it's a place of safety. There's too many different directions. You block this way, he goes that way. You block that way, he goes this way. He gets a move, you get a move. You can't block everything at once. Once you get into the center, you cannot be contained. If you cannot be contained, you cannot be killed. Now, that's abstract, but I think it's common sense and logical, and I think you can understand that. You want to secure your weak groups, run into the center. A group that has accomplished that, gotten into the center, is almost impossible to kill.
But doesn't white get a lot of profit by chasing that group into the center on the bottom and on the top? I mean, let's pretend we're not going to try to really kill it, but we're going to make illusions that we will.
I will say to you, absolutely yes, positively, no question about it, which is why I didn't like this move in the first place. Once you play a move like this, you create a weak group, you're giving your opponent profit. Your weak groups are your opponent's profit. That's just a fact. Nothing is ever going to change that. Now, all of a sudden, you have this weak group and you start to get upset about how much profit. Well, it's too late for that. I don't want to play this move in the first place because I'm giving my opponent too much profit. I want to play a C move and settle in more quickly so I can't be attacked. But once you're here, yes, you're absolutely right. You're giving your opponent a lot of profit. It's too late. The time to think about that was earlier on. So from black's perspective, I'm looking either to just simply run away. See, since white has connected here, if he calls a tower, you're not even going to answer. So this move is going to be left for you for as long as you want. And if I didn't want to play A, then I would just make this wide slide here looking for a quick base. But let me get back to this move. Why is this the most often used way of defending your group? There's two reasons. The first reason is it's the best way to make your group safe. I tell you something, I kill groups that have two eyes all the time. It's no big deal. Eyes you think are safe, they're not safe. I do not kill groups that get into the center all the time. Once you get into the center, it becomes very, very difficult to kill those stones. You can't, in fact, kill those stones. All that can happen is sometimes they die because of what I call malnourishment. You nourish a group by feeding it, by playing moves. If you stop playing moves, well, yeah, anything will die. As long as you keep playing moves, it's not going to die. Sometimes, if you nourish a group, you lose on territory. You're playing dame moves, your opponent's playing profit moves. You can't afford to nourish a group. So you don't nourish a group and then it dies. It wasn't killed, it just died of malnourishment. But the other factor is, when you put your stones down in the middle of in the center, moving out to the center, these stones are high value points. Look at this. If you get eyes locally, okay, so you got your two eyes and you have security, but the meaning of your moves is local meaning. You get to a different area of the board, and whether these stones are on the board or off the board doesn't make any difference. You run out into the center, and it makes a huge difference in other areas of the board whether these stones are on the board or not. So let's have black play here. Even let's say he's going to be driven again and come out to here. These two stones mean that because of this stone, now black can look at some kind of operation in this area to try and invade and take the territory away. See, these stones mean that he has a place to run to. He's got help. If white is going to block his exit, then he's going to have a little bit easier time doing something on the side. These stones in the center help you out. These stones in the center mean that at some future time, they may assist black in terms of his aim of playing J. Again, once he's played J, the two white stones on the side have been split off and they now need to be defended. If white comes after J with a full court press and gets cut off, now it's a capturing race. See, these moves create value for you in other places of the board. They help you out in terms of the lower side. They help you out in terms of the right side. They help you out in terms of building center territory for yourself later on. Center moves are valuable moves because since they're in the center, they affect a lot more of the board than local moves on the side. That's why this technique is the most valuable, most commonly used, because you not only get the greatest security for yourself, but also you put down moves that have the highest value. You put down eye-making moves that may give you security, and that there is whatever value you get from that security. I won't contest that. But the meaning is always local. You get to the rest of the game, the rest of the board, those stones aren't your friends. They're not helping you out. They're strangers. They don't know your name. And this is a pass. White should just take Sente here. Notice that black, even though he's played through here, is not alive. He's got one eye. This point here takes away the second eye. Now, obviously, as an immediately played move, it's not that meaningful, but at some later time, if you get some white stones out here so that black's exit is blocked, and white J is to some extent supported indirectly, this group can be killed. So black took Gote here, and he still has a group that's not alive yet. I think you can start to see the value of running away into the center. You take Gote running away into the center, and your group is alive. Whatever else is going to happen. Again, here, this is focus. This move has nothing to do. You play through to the point of completion. What is the point of completion? The point of completion is when you have stability. This stone obviously has no effect on anybody's stability. So playing it then is a loss of focus in that if you can afford to play a move that doesn't affect stability, then it's time to move on. And if a move that affects stability is still important here, then play it. So what's big? What's big in this area? This area is played out for the time being. You're not going to kill black at this time.
No, I think white should go to the left somehow.
Yeah, this is a big area.
Yeah, so, but where?
Well, you have the same kind of issue that you have over here, and namely that you don't have room enough to be stable with only one play. So just playing a move on the side doesn't look that attractive. You can use the same seam theory. The thing about the seam move is you let your opponent choose. You can use the seam theory, but influence your opponent's choice. Instead of playing this contact move, which allows black to strengthen up, and now this move is perfectly placed for black, you can use this seam value without being exactly on it. For example, this submarine move here is a way of doing that. If black is going to go for the side, now you settle in, you have a nice big corner, and now you're not so concerned that the side has gotten too large. Whereas if black goes for the, if black goes for the corner, now you get to two moves in a row on this side to settle in, and you blunt the attack. So that will be one way to think about this area. Another idea is just to play a reducing move here. A reducing move is most generally a move that never leaves the center. If you never get out of the center, you never leave the place of safety, you never have to worry. The fourth line is the dividing line between the side and the center. So the fourth line is still a center move. If black pushes, you just jump. He's just helping you settle yourself. He's just helping you make shape. So something, you could look at one of those two ideas. So at the...
He got his two eyes.
yeah, actually he doesn't.
He will.
I wanted white to leave now. J is the most effective way to threaten black, and so to keep that move available is preferable. At the end of the day, white ends up taking center and getting to that area. But what's happened? What is the meaning of these moves? Well, if nothing else, white has lost some co-threats. How many times have you lost a game that you would have won if you had one more co-threat? Enough said. With regard to this area here, if white gets sufficiently strong, he can kill this group with this move.
Black complete.
That's now a false side. Now he's got to be pretty strong to be playing this way. But still, black is not completely alive. From black's perspective, this move should have been here. Now he's completely alive. Oh, man. This area is wide enough that white's not going to be in any real danger. However, this is an unstable area, and this is a moment of opportunity. This is a very tasty move of great substance, and white is not going to play this and then walk away. White's going to put down another stone here and start